Yo ho ho! Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Amazing Survivors podcast. On this episode, we are breaking down the season finale of The Amazing Race.
Season 36.
Season 36. As always, I'm your host, Tron, and...
I am Tremaine. TNT, getting it back at it. So they're still in the DR.
Still in the DR. Looks beautiful. Fills up on this tower.
Have you been there?
Oh my gosh, I haven't.
Okay.
I've been all around it, but I've never been there.
I've been there, and I have to say, one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever been on is definitely on that North Shore.
Yeah.
And it is a beautiful place.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so
they start
4 teams.
4 teams left. They start in 2 different groups.
15 minutes apart.
15 minutes apart. They basically just jump in the ocean and swim a bit and then dive down and get a clue. Or if you're Rod, you just pull the clues up and grab them.
Yeah, they're jumping from a catamaran, swim out to this buoy. I think actually Rod pulls himself down to get the clue. And then pop up.
Who knows? That
but
dude's strong.
knowing him, he probably did pull it up. But yeah, Ricky's the first one to the beach.
Surprise, surprise.
No, not at all. You know what Rod should have done? He should have just grabbed his wife and gone, babe, just hang on.
Just hang on. I'm going.
I'm kicking.
Yeah.
Because that guy's got leg for days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so first of the beach, and the first
it's a
detour here is they get to choose. You can either assemble 4 diving rigs and put them in a boat, or you can go to this bar and...
The diversity bar.
The diversity bar with a bunch of pirates.
Who look like they're already drunk.
Yeah, and you choose 6 of them and make 6 drinks and give them to the right people, and then you get your clue.
Yeah. What would you have done?
Well, as I'm not a drinker, I wouldn't be as familiar with that. And so just like first instincts, I'm like, that might be kind of hard. I don't know what's in all these drinks. But then I'm like, they have to have like a recipe.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just not as confident with that. And so I'm like, I can put stuff together. So I'm doing the diving rigs.
I'd have to go the same way. I know the mojito and the pina colada. I've heard them in name. I don't know what goes in them other than pineapple and coconut in the pina colada.
Yeah.
Oh, and milk, maybe?
I don't know.
No? I don't know. So yeah, I think we'd be better off with the rigs. And it's only 4 rigs, and like I've done scuba diving.
Yeah.
And putting a rig together, you can do really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what makes me wonder about these clues is there's got to be more.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you're going to have a recipe to follow on making the drinks.
Because everyone chose the drinks. Every team.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. And then when they get there, it didn't seem as hard as I was thinking. Because I thought you have to go to people, get their 6 drink orders, go back, make the drinks, and then deliver it to the right people. But they were basically just like getting 2 at a time.
Well, it seemed like most of them were getting 1 at a time.
Yeah.
Ricky and Cesar, they did 2 at a time.
Yeah.
And then Juan and Shane, after a couple, were like, oh, let's do 2 at a time.
Yeah.
And so that's what they did. And so it looked so easy. So easy. Ricky and Cesar made 7 drinks and still finished first.
Yeah.
So
they just crushed it. Juan and Shane did great. Rod, Leticia did great. Amber and Vinny messed up on a drink like 4 times.
Yeah.
Because it was in the wrong cup or something like that.
Yeah.
Just no real attention to detail on that one.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, it looked pretty easy.
Pretty easy. Yeah.
So they get their clue, and off they go to the next.
Off they go to the roadblock, and we find out here that Rod and Leticia, Rod's done his max, and
He's done all the
from here on out, Leticia is doing all the roadblocks.
Yep.
All the other teams can choose.
Yep.
So this roadblock is windsurfing. Basically, just getting on that surfboard, pulling up the sail, and then just staying on it for 1 minute.
Yeah. Okay. Would you feel comfortable doing this one?
I think so. Like, I paddleboard quite a bit.
Okay.
So I think that
that
really helps for sure. Yeah. It is a lot harder in the ocean with some waves and everything, but I probably would have fallen off a couple times, but I don't think it would have been anything too hard.
It didn't look too windy also.
Yeah.
Even though you just need a little breeze and that can get you over. But they're also in the shallow.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, it looked like their instructors were keeping it so the board would not break with the waves.
Yeah.
And so overall, you're kind of stuck in between the waves and the wall. So, but man, Ricky struggled.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, right? Like,
really surprising.
This is the first time we've really seen him struggling. And I think, was it Rod that made a joke like, "Oh, don't tell me you grew up like windsurfing or something."
Yeah, because these guys have done everything apparently. But no, Ricky really struggled. Leticia, she gets bonked in the head on the first go, but she gets right back up and smokes it.
Yeah, crushed that.
It was so impressive. And then Juan and Shane come. Juan gets up there. He's like, "Oh, I can do this."
Yeah.
And he does it really quickly. And then Vinny comes, and he's like, "Oh, I surf. I grew up in the water." And I kind of wish I knew exactly how much time was in between him and Ricky getting done, because it didn't look like long.
Yeah.
But it was just enough where it propelled him to get to the final three.
Yeah. Yeah, so Rod and Leticia are first, Juan and Shane second. Ricky Cesar, I don't know how many attempts it took Ricky, because it said 21, but he fell on 21, and so he like got up, I believe. So
he says he fell 50 times. But,
I don't know. At least 22 attempts.
Yeah.
So it took a long time, and they get back in the car, and he's like very distraught. Yeah, he's just like, "That's the most stressed I've been this entire race." I'm like, "Yeah, it's like one of the few times you've ever had like competition here and like couldn't do
like,
something."
Oh crap! I could really be screwed here.
Yeah.
But then they get this clue to go to these dune buggies.
Oh, that looks so fun.
Oh my gosh, going on these dune buggies through a muddy trail in the jungle.
Yeah.
Like
getting to a beach, getting in some kayaks, kayaking over across, and then like getting to the mat.
Wilson's Bar.
Looks so fun.
Oh my gosh.
So fun.
Yeah. Sign me up. I'll do that all day.
Although the dune buggies did look like they only went like 10 miles an hour.
Very lackluster in speed. And some of these guys are getting to the edge and not getting muddy.
Yeah. Just
you're at the end of the race. Get as muddy as you can. Who cares?
Right? For sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it comes in, and I do wish they had timestamps and everything. So Rod and Leticia get first.
Trip to Italy.
Great to them.
Yeah.
It didn't look like anyone was super close.
No.
They tried to make it seem that Ricky and Cesar and Amber and Vinny were close, but I don't think it was as close as they were saying.
In the screen, he said, like Phil says, you can see how close it was, and you could see them about halfway across the river paddling.
Yeah, which
that's probably a good 10 minutes.
Yeah. So Ricky and Cesar, by the skin of their teeth, man, they just snuck out the third place, and Amber and Vinny got eliminated. But Amber and Vinny,
they didn't get eliminated for their relationship. They upgraded.
Yeah.
They get engaged there on the mat, which is pretty cool.
That was cool. Good for them.
Vinny hasn't looked all that great in the edits of this race, but I think they've both grown.
Yeah. For sure.
And as far as I understand, they're married now.
That's what I've
which
heard.
Is super exciting for them.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, they were fun to watch.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them.
Yeah, they're good.
And I think
they were a pretty good team.
I think that kind of takes a little bit of the sting off of taking fourth.
Yeah.
And so
because that's hard to get eliminated. The last team to like get eliminated before the final. That's a rough one.
Tough.
So
that is tough. And so, but then it shows them on the tarmac.
Yeah.
And Phil says they're going to Philly.
Yeah. City of brotherly love. Let's go. And lo and behold,
who's from Philly?
Ricky.
Shocker.
So
let's give the team that's dominating another advantage.
And that is such a huge advantage.
Oh my gosh.
Because you probably don't have to stop and ask for directions, because pretty much everything they go to is like a pretty like well-known thing, right? And so like
a place of history of some sort.
And so it's like, man, that is just such an advantage to know where you're going, or at least the general vicinity of it and how to get there. Yeah,
like we were talking as we were watching this and knowing that Ricky was from Philly, and like we live in Salt Lake. If they did a final in Salt Lake and we're in it, we're gonna dominate.
Yeah.
Like challenge or no challenge, like we can get through the challenges and definitely smoke people in directions of where to get. Like you ask one person, hey, give me the address of this place. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I know that street.
Yeah.
I know how to get there.
Yeah.
And not just get there, but get there quickly.
Yeah.
And so, holy crap, what an advantage.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Big advantage from the get-go.
But they all start at the same time.
They all start at the same time, same place.
Oh, I did not know. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, they start at the rocky stairs, right?
Yeah, which is at the library, the Philadelphia Library and Museum. I did not know that Philadelphia was the home to the first computer, the first hospital, and the first library, and the first Rocky movie. Yeah. Well, actually, I did know the Rocky movie.
Yeah.
I know about those other first.
Yeah, so they start there, and they have to race to Lincoln Financial Field, which I'm assuming is where the Eagles play.
Go Eagles.
So Rod's stoked out of his mind, and they like.
Well, it's funny because like I think that's where the Eagles play. Rod.
Yeah.
He played in the NFL.
Right.
But to his credit, he did take a few knocks to the head.
Yeah. They get to the field and he's like, "Oh man, I miss these days so much." I'm like, "I bet you do, man. I bet you do."
Yeah, for real.
I just freaking love Rod and Leticia. Yeah. I want to be friends with you, Rod and Leticia.
So they get there and it's a roadblock, and they have to go through a mascot training day.
Yeah.
Which looked fun.
It looked fun. It didn't look hard.
No.
It looked pretty exciting.
Just goofy.
Yeah, what they had to do is get dressed up in this big, like, Amazing Race mascot with a big globe on their head. They had to do a high step through the ladders and then jump on a trampoline and go through, like, a hula hoop type thing. Yeah. And then pick up the t-shirt gun and hit a target.
Yeah. The target looks probably, 30 yards away?
Yeah, something like that.
So about probably
30, 40, something like that.
Poor
Leticia, she struggled with that quite a bit because they were the first ones there, I think. Yep. But she kept like firing the t-shirt cannon off when she was like picking it up,
or the t-shirt would fall out.
Yeah.
But she finally got it.
She did get it. Everyone else pretty much no sweat, I think.
Yeah. Ricky got it real quick.
Got it in like 2 shots.
One.
Yeah.
Probably the same.
Yeah. So super quick. Everyone's in and out.
It was funny. They also had other people there cheering.
Yeah.
And I think those people were probably just on a stadium tour, but they're like, "Hey, can you just like cheer while these people do this?" Just to say that we have a crowd. Woohoo!
Yeah, right.
Like, in this like 80,000 seat stadium.
Right.
So from there, they got to go to Pat and Gino's cheesesteak.
Apparently, if you're in Philadelphia, you know this, but the big rival cheesesteak places, one on this corner, one on this corner.
And it's not far. I think it's. I don't think it's too far from where they are, like a couple miles.
Yeah. So they have to go there. Ricky Cesar, obviously, they know where it is. Juan and Shane ask, it looked like a parking attendant or something for directions, and the dude's like, "Oh yeah, that's a pizza place, like
right across from each other."
Yeah, I'm like, why does he keep saying pizza? Like, I don't know.
And so this is where Juan and Shane just got to pay attention a little bit more to detail, because this was basically the key to the race. Yeah, 100%. Because they take off and they go to New Jersey.
Yeah. They cross state lines, go to Pat's Pizza in New Jersey.
Which, who knows how long it took them to get there. I should have looked it up.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because, and it was also funny because like at the beginning of the race, they said, you get $20 for this race. And they had to pay the toll to go to New Jersey and then back. Yeah. So who knows if they ran out of money. But...
and like
huge blunder
if you run out of money, like
you got to beg for money.
guess. I don't know.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, everyone else makes it there. And then from there, they have to go to Betsy Ross's house?
No, Head House Square.
Head House Square, that's right.
And when they get there, they have to recite the preamble for the Declaration of Independence. And it's basically on this big scroll broken out into 4 sections, black and red. And one person does like 2 paragraphs that are in black. The other one does the 2 in red.
Yeah.
Which
I think we do well at this.
I think I would.
It's also in Old English, which
yeah,
like we read scriptures, and that's in Old English. So
yeah,
the language would not be
it's not,
or the wording would not be a huge deal.
Yeah, because it's a little weird, weirdly worded and written in comparison to like modern day speech, which kind of threw Rod for a loop. But also all of his concussions.
And also threw Cesar for a loop because he struggled with it, and understandably so. Like it's a second language, but Old English is almost like a third language, if you will.
Yeah.
But but they got through it.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many times they had to do it.
A couple times.
At least 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it was funny to see Ricky say, "Oh, it was definitely you that messed up."
Yeah, but it was him.
Yeah.
And Juan and Shane did great at that too. It was actually really funny. They get there and Juan just goes off and Shane's like, "What?"
And I think he did it so fast and Shane was so surprised and threw him off. Yeah. And he totally forgot his. It was like, well, shoot, I gotta go back and read mine again. And by this time they're in dead last. But and it also looked like it was pretty cold because the dude that was saying yay or nay, like he was just getting redder and redder. For and
sure.
he's also in the shade, which I don't know why.
For sure. So I mean, Ricky Cesar just demolished that. They're in first.
Doesn't look close.
Doesn't look close at all.
After this point.
And at this point it looks fairly set because Juan and Shane went to New Jersey and whatever. So. So from there, they get the clue and they have to go to Betsy Ross' house, and they basically have to assemble the original American flag as it was with the names of the original 13 colonies in order on the flag. And they're getting those names from 3 or 4 people that are just reciting certain things and
3 little lectures.
Yeah, little lectures, and it's not like, oh, first was Delaware, then was this. It was like,
it's kind of like a riddle in a way where you had to place them in certain parts. I would do well at this just because I would have. Here's where I wish I knew the rules because did you have to listen to the whole lecture? Because I personally I listened for 3 or 4. Okay, I go back out. Put those in the order that I heard, go back in. I wouldn't even care if you finished his lecture or not. I just walk out. Yeah. Because it seems like you can do that.
Yeah. It seemed like Ricky or Cesar, I can't remember who did it. It seemed like they did.
Well, Leticia did when she finally understood it's 5-point stars, 13 of the 5-point stars, and then she bolted. Yeah. And so.
Also, I don't know. She didn't do great on this. And she kept putting like 5 stars on there, and there were a couple 6-point stars, and I'm like, have you never seen like the original American? Have you even seen like a current one? Now there's 50 stars. Yeah. And I don't know, it just in my head, I'm like, 6-point doesn't look right. Do the 5-point one. So
yeah. But it's kind of fun, kind of cool to see how the flag came together. They just zip them together. Yeah. But Ricky and Cesar just blows through it. Like they're there and gone before Rod and Leticia get there. And then Juan and Shane, they saw Rod and Leticia leave the square. Yeah. They pull up. They recite the Declaration, and then they catch up to them at this house and pass them. So they must have blown through that Declaration of Independence really fairly quickly. Yeah. And poor Leticia just struggled. Yep. But they get it done, and from there
they have to go to Arch Meeting House, and there's a 3D puzzle of the Liberty Bell that they just have to assemble and hang it and then get a clue, which looks super easy.
I mean, the pieces were big. It was easy to tell what's bottom, what's top.
Yeah.
And also just there's plenty of like crests and symbols on the bell and writing. So you could almost, if you had to, like go from the top down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did not look super difficult.
No, it looked pretty easy. Ricky Cesar crushed that too.
Crushed through that. They were gone before anyone else showed up.
It's just like pretty much every leg and every roadblock or detour on this whole season.
But then they get a clue to go to the final pit stop of Glenfjord Estate. Spot where George Washington crossed the Delaware River. And the edit makes it look like it's much closer than it is.
Yeah.
Because they have to stop and ask directions. And I think it's about 30 minutes by car, depending on how you go, to get there. So, yeah, you probably did have to ask, but man, you ask one person, get directions, and you should be golden.
Yeah, and I don't know, you knew it wasn't close, and they kind of edited it to look like it was, and I'm like, that's kind of stupid. Like, we know, like, just
this is over.
Yeah, you can just show it.
Yeah,
you don't need to
okay.
like make it look like it's this close race between Ricky and Cesar and Juan and Shane,
But yeah, Ricky and Cesar, they get the dub, get the $1 million,
which is their 7th win of the season. Which you looked it up, and the most ever is 8, right? 8-leg wins.
Yeah.
So they were just one off from tying
the most, but they tied with 3 other teams that have also won 7.
Yeah.
And so that's amazing.
Yeah, dominant performance for
sure.
Mean,
their worst placement was 3rd.
Yeah.
And that was the last leg.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
To be that consistent and that solid was amazing. But they work so well together. Super exciting for them.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
To see where they go from there.
Yeah, so then 2nd place, Juan and Shane, they made up some time. I thought for sure they were like dead last and 3rd. But
when they go to New Jersey,
I'm like, it's over.
I know they're not taking first.
Yeah.
Dang. But, God, they got to be kicking themselves for that blunder.
100%. Yeah.
Because that would have been really interesting.
If they didn't.
Because, I'm sorry, I really absolutely think that they would have beaten them at the Declaration. They would have beaten them at the Stars and Stripes.
Yeah.
And they would have beat them at the puzzle.
Probably.
So.
And then one of us would have won our fantasy
Dang
league.
Dang it. But
yeah, so it shows them, and I think it's cool how they have all the other teams back, and they're all wearing their gear and like cheering for them, and half of them you're like, oh, I don't even remember you. Like,
is that
wait, what?
Maya and Rohan?
Okay. No, they're still out getting their
still
car
in
turned
Mexico
around.
trying to turn around.
But yeah, so I mean, that was cool. It was cool to see them get on the mat, and then Rod and Leticia, obviously they're in 3rd. They know it, but they're just having fun. They're just always positive and cool, and so they run up to the mat 3rd, and
And I would love to see them compete again because they are so much fun.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a fun race.
They went to some cool places. They did some really cool stuff, I thought. It was a fun one.
Yeah. I'm excited for the next race, 37.
Yeah.
What is today, the 17th?
Yes.
I believe, if I know my dates right, I think they start tomorrow. Yeah. They're in their starting city tomorrow.
Do you know the starting city? Has that leaked or anything?
No. But yeah. So I think they go from tomorrow till mid-June. Yeah. So I'm excited to see where they go.
I am too.
It's always exciting to see.
I'm excited too. The last season was in like heavily Asia, Southeast Asia. This one was all like South America and the Caribbean. So I'm assuming they'll hit some European stops.
Yeah. also, like, this season was also a charter plane.
Yeah.
Like 35, they got to jump on different commercial flights.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see that back in play.
Yeah. Yeah.
That always, I feel like, adds a pretty cool dynamic.
Yeah, it adds an element to it for sure. So we'll see on that. Hopefully we'll see some roadblocks. We didn't see any roadblocks or express pass on this one. Yeah. So hopefully we'll see some of that
come back into play.
Yeah, which I think they will. I think they'll have like a detour at least.
Yeah.
Or I mean a
U-turn.
U-turn. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to see, because they usually do 2 U-turns.
Yeah.
Put one more in.
Yeah. And I liked on last season how they did the U-turns and everything.
Yeah,
so the vote.
So, like, I like it also, like, it's an anonymous voting, so you could totally lie, like, we totally didn't vote for you.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, we totally voted for that.
And for good reason.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, who knows? We'll see, and
yeah,
it should be fun though.
Should be good. Let us know your thoughts on the season as a whole, on the results of it, and if you liked the ending or if you wished it was a little different. Yeah.
And also name, who do you think you'd like to see on the race? Maybe celebrity status, another football player, or cool. Some other influencer or whatever.
Yeah, let us know where you think they're going as well. Maybe where they're starting, where they're going to spend most of their time. Yeah. Countries. Maybe we'll get a new country again.
That'd be awesome. I love when they go to new countries.
I do too.
I mean, I think they should go to Israel.
Well, maybe not right now.
Probably not. But yeah, let us know, and we'll be back next week with the finale of Survivor, and they also have. Oh shoot! What's the first episode? Premiere?
Yeah.
The premiere of The Summit.
Yeah, which maybe we'll be breaking down in the downtime between seasons.
Yes. So we look forward to it. See you soon, guys. Yo ho ho.